a rebellion, I'd call it, that is misguided. And I want to bring all of us back to the fold here. So if we can all repeat the words here, we do this together. 1, 2, the corpse's mother, the corpse's father. Oh, wrong presentation, sorry.
His name is John, and he's a rat. Okay. What I wanted to do is start off telling you a little bit about how Free Babylon 5 started and where we are right now. And it's all Joe Straczynski's fault. Isn't it always? Yeah. He's an instigator. But basically, what has been happening, is that over the last few years, Babylon 5 seems to have become a punchline. We're getting, what really started this particular campaign off was on Breaking Bad. 2 people on a stakeout were talking, and I've never seen the show, but boy, have I heard about this scene. 2 people on a stakeout were talking, and mentioned another character, and the comment was, all he could talk about was some show called Babylon 5 for 3 hours. Okay, we all probably know about how Sheldon Cooper feels about Babylon 5 on the Big Bang Theory. Excuse me. And there's several other situations where Babylon 5 has just become a punchline and sometimes kind of a bad joke. So, back in September, somebody was telling Joe about the Breaking Bad thing, and he commented.
He made multiple comments, actually. I'll read them for you people on the other end of the room. Babylon 5 mentioned tonight's Breaking Bad. Between this and Big Bang Theory, we've apparently become the nerd version of Jeopardy. Honestly, if fans want the original Babylon 5 back on the air as more than an obscure reference, then y'all need to get organized and loud. Some days I think the Free Mars campaign should now be Free Babylon 5.
And actually, he had mentioned this, I found out later, even though I was there most of the time, but, I hadn't been paying attention. He had been mentioning something about, fans getting organized and loud a few other times at conventions. So, I guess this one just kind of stuck, and early in September, I registered the Free Babylon 5 domain, and I started a Facebook page, and I started a Twitter page, and some other fans started selling some t-shirts for charity, and it actually seemed to start taking off instead of fading into obscurity. So, very shortly thereafter, the whole thrust is getting people to write to TV stations, to write to Warner Brothers, and get them to ask for Babylon 5. And very shortly thereafter, in late October, the Watch Channel in the UK gave the Free Babylon 5 campaign credit for them starting to show Babylon 5 at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on weekdays. They actually did a trailer for Babylon 5, and it had the Soul Hunter ship coming out of hyperspace, and it had a Free Babylon 5 trailer. So, we actually did get an immediate response, positive response from television stations.
I've noticed that over the years, even before the campaign, that the UK seemed to be able to get the rights to Babylon 5 a lot easier. I mean, it's broadcast on the Sky Network a number of times before this, and it seems like it is easier to get traction over there. Does that?
There does seem to be a very healthy fandom in the UK, and for whatever reason, corporate structure for Warner Brothers overseas is very different from the way it is here. Yeah. The corporate structure of Warner Brothers here is that they are in every division of Warner Brothers is in competition with each other. So none of them are interested in helping each other. So you've got Warner Brothers Home Video who won't help Warner Brothers Archives, who won't help
I don't know the name of them, it's their streaming media.
yeah, exactly. None of them are interested in helping each other because they all have to compete with each other and make more profit than every other division.
And this is like the government. Right. and this is why Babylon 5 has been in the States, and unlike a franchise like Star Trek or Stargate, which perpetuate itself, is they have one house really pushing things. And that's what we're about. We either want this house to start pushing what we want, or we want the property free with whatever works.
So basically, what we've done, we've got, well, I put up a little web page. That is my very first web page.
It looks much better now.
Yes, it looks, as of late October, it looks a lot better. And we've got a lot of resources there. We've got addresses for contacting lots of local television stations. We've got addresses for contacting cable companies and Warner Brothers itself. The envelopes that each of you got or will get for UA covers, each has, the envelope is pre-addressed and pre-stamped and pre-stuffed with a very short letter to Warner Brothers saying, make it available. So, you're welcome, in fact, I'd encourage you to write your own letter, if you could just take the time while you're here at the convention to sign the letter, put a little bit of demographic information, and hand it into the front desk of your hotel. That would really be great. And don't forget to take out the buttons and the badge ribbons and everything for yourself.
And think about how impactful this is going to be too. People don't get mail anymore beyond spam, right? So, a campaign, even if it's just a couple hundred of us flooding in right now, which I believe we're going to be seeing a lot more of this. That'll turn some heads. So definitely follow through, please.
Also on the website is a list of some TV stations that fans have actually let us know about, and they're just email links. And I emailed 6 of them and got 2 responses this past week. So there are actual people at the other ends of some of these email forms. So it's worth a try. But the most impact is always going to be a real letter. And one other thing that we did that was very successful was in December we did a Thunderclap campaign. This was suggested by a fan. Has anybody else heard of Thunderclap? No. It's really cool where you can set up a message and ask people to lend their contact list for one email. We made up a very short, email to tell people about the free Babylon 5 campaign. The fans, 547 fans, lent us their contact list, and we reached 191,470 people. That is the power of word of mouth these days. So, if we may do another one in the future. It's not something that we want to overdo, but I thought it was very effective. Now, how many of those people actually sent letters to Warner Brothers? I don't know, but I hope that a small fraction of them did, and we can make this an ongoing effort to just keep trying to get Warner Brothers' attention. As John mentioned, Star Trek became a phenomenon only after it went into reruns. It was in reruns on every channel, every day, for years and years and years and years and years, until it became part of the cultural conscious. Babylon 5 hasn't been on television in the United States for 10 years. 10 years. That's it. But thankfully, the UK has been not just the UK. Overseas, we had a lot more success. We're now being seen in, well, actually, the Watch Channel finished, but they said they will bring it back. We're being seen in Denmark, and Germany just started yesterday or today. And I just found out last night that it's being shown in Italy. So we've got 4 countries in Europe where it is being seen or has recently been seen. So now my main push is North America. So Canada, with the Space Channel. And a lot of people are suggesting, and I agree with this completely, there are so many retro channels. We don't have to just look at Space Channel or Sci-Fi or whatever they're pronouncing it as this week. There's MeTV and hundreds of retro channels. So it doesn't matter that we haven't gotten Babylon 5 in Blu-ray yet. There's lots of channels who could show it. Excuse me. One of the ones that I wrote to was the Science Channel. They showed Firefly recently a couple of times. I think Babylon 5 has a lot more real hard science than Firefly does. So I think that would be, a great match. And any suggestions that you guys have, you're welcome, more than welcome to post them on the Facebook page or there's an email address to contact me.
Yes, sir. Sorry, it just occurred to me. Have you been targeting advertisers at all? Because Samsung featured Babylon 5 in one of their recent commercials. And if you could,
yes, you're right.
If they got flooded with letters saying, hey, thanks for that nod to our favorite show, this is let them know that maybe people are buying Samsung products because of that ad. Maybe they'd be willing to push a network to sponsor.
That's a really good thought.
That's an excellent.
If you didn't hear that over on this side of the room, Samsung recently ran an ad that referenced Babylon 5. And her suggestion is, we can reach out to corporate sponsors like Samsung in this instance, who show our favorite show here, and let them know that we're interested in their products because they're supporting us. That sends a powerful message to marketing departments, certainly. Yeah.
And thank them. That's the main thing. Even if they're not in a position to go to Warner Brothers and say, hey, we'll sponsor Babylon 5, just say thank you, so that we stay on their radar. Sure.
I live in Vegas, so I listen to Jerry Doll on radio. And he's the character, and he does talk about Babylon 5 on his radio show. So if you ever like, you can go to his website, maybe get onto his radio program to promote Babylon 5.
And Jerry Doyle actually tweeted free Babylon 5 this year, correct?
He did tweet the hashtag, and he had Stephen First on not too long ago. I did email Jerry and made sure to give him the website and the Facebook and everything and information about the campaign. Whether he's ever done anything with it or not, I don't think so. I think he will just let me know.
You can always listen on his website, so anybody goes to his website, it's Jerry Doll, so you can see his program on the web.
And I know Claudia Christian and Patricia Talman both talked about it quite a bit on their sites as well.
Yeah, they're spreading the news. Personally, I go to a lot of conventions, a lot smaller ones that are a little more expensive than Comic-Con.
Everything's more intimate than
Yeah, you've been to New York City more
except DragonCon.
DragonCon's even more interesting, but that's off topic. Jan actually has put together some really great convention packets that, she's got buttons, she's got dog tags, she's got these great lanyards that she makes. as well as ribbons. And ribbons are so popular at the smaller conventions. People collect them. They get big lists of ribbons on their badges. It hasn't caught on so much here, but at smaller conventions, it's done a lot. And the conversation starting for Babylon 5 has been huge. People want Babylon 5 stuff, and it spreads. Every time I've brought one of these to a convention, one of these packets, I've completely given it all out very quickly within minutes. So it is in demand, and if those might be a better place to really get a groundswell going, and get people marching.
Like John said, I do send out packets of buttons and postcards, and will continue to do so as long as I've got the money to do so. So insert the usual plea for fundraising here, and then we'll move on. But seriously, so far this is a campaign that consists of me, my wonderful webmaster, my good friend Amy, who's going to be doing the newsletter because I can't seem to get around to it, and all of the people who are spreading out, getting people, getting these packets and putting out the information at conventions, and it really does work because you get so many people. John, I bet you can tell how many people have said, "Oh, I've always been to watch that show," or "I've heard such good things about that show."
Yeah, it's constant. Or oh wow, that was my favorite show. I forgot about it, which is even sadder. But yeah, the show is. I mean, we all know it's so well written that the word of mouth is fine for the show. We just need to be loud enough that somebody's going to notice us.
As long as we don't talk about the title.
Have you considered digital syndication?
I'm sorry?
Digital syndication, Netflix, Amazon? That's the reason Jericho's still alive.
That's one of the things, we would love that very much. JMS seemed to think that going after television shows would be the better idea. I have no preference. Whatever you guys want to see, that's who you should contact, because you're the ones who can write the letter from a personal standpoint and say, this is what I'm doing. But at the same time, my suggestion is, yes, write to Netflix and Hulu and every single streaming site that you can think of, and to Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers has to make it available. We've got to get them away from this $2 an episode. That's not how people watch television these days. They marathon.
Yeah.
Have you considered using Vistaprint for print stuff?
I'm using Vistaprint for all of my postcards so far. They did the banner that I got at the Arizona Sci-Fi Con's fan table that is sharing with me on the mezzanine, table 3. Come on by.
They let us ship it all over the world, so I could put the postcard in and anybody could order it and ship it to them.
Oh, okay, that I wasn't familiar with. I knew that they would ship all over the world, but basically I've been having things sent to me and then I'm sending it out.
They'll send it directly to whoever orders it.
So I can actually almost
You just
like
have to
a
give them
store.
your passwords and stuff to get in to order it.
Oh, okay. That's great. That's a great idea. So, basically that's what this panel is about, is I need the ideas. So.
Well, regarding Netflix, maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, the entire series was on Netflix.
It was.
And then it got pulled. Is there an understanding why or how that came about?
Warner Brothers.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, I mean, Warner Brothers did have Babylon 5 streaming on their website for a long time, and 3 episodes, and they, the powers that we took that down this year. So,
Again, back to the $2 an episode model.
yeah.
Exactly, and I don't know why they think that's a good idea, but.
I'm one of the newbies, right? So I'll give you the perspective of someone who's longer in.
Please.
I saw the card and then I saw it in the newspaper in the schedule. I didn't really understand what was going on. And I don't think the card felt like here. It wasn't until I got here that I thought, oh, they're not showing it? So I would suggest, I love these things. I mean, I think you're doing a everything right, and you got me here, and I love Babylon 5. Maybe put something like, did you know that you can't have seen Babylon 5 lately? No, wonder why? Come to this.
Good thought.
Yeah, that's basically my every single, I'm sending out that postcard to every convention everywhere. So, yeah, it probably does need to be updated again, but,
And for people who may have walked in.
before January's convention in, Galveston, so I didn't have a lot of time in the street.
Even the description in the book, wasn't really sure. I said, really? Didn't understand what was going on. So I think, and also always put your email on everything, even in the program. So like if you have conflicting things.
There is an email definitely available fairly prominently on the website, but, no, you're right, maybe it would be better to have it on the.
Sure. And for people who may have walked in late, we are giving out envelopes. They're stamped already. All you have to do is sign a letter, send it into your hotel, and say mail this out. And it's a letter to Warner Brothers saying through Babylon 5. And those envelopes also contain some swag for you. So come approach us afterwards if you didn't get one. Pick those up.
Now I know I can't think of any right now, but I know there's been campaigns in the past, not necessarily for Babylon 5, but for fans to buy the rights of certain properties from companies. It seems like one of those was probably get rid of them.
Joe
Is that
Straczynski,
something that's
Joe Straczynski has actually spent, not too long ago, a couple of years trying to negotiate with Warner Brothers to get the rights back. It didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. He does still have the rights to the movie.
He does, yes.
Right.
Joe owns the rights to a feature film for Babylon 5. And anybody going to his panel on Saturday, he has hinted that there may be something Babylon 5 related that he's going to mention. Whether that's a feature film or not, I don't know. But, and I am not industry savvy at all, but at one point, somebody mentioned, and I don't remember if it was JMS or not, that having the feature film rights is great, but without the TV rights, it's going to be awfully hard to get financing.
Right.
Because who's going to finance a movie that may never be able to be sold to television?
Right.
I mean, how many times has everybody seen Thor? So, I don't know if that is true or not. I'm not industry savvy, but, it's one of those things that actually makes sense to me.
And again, if the movie's coming out, a great way to get buzz about that is to broadcast the television show. So I mean, it comes back to chicken or egg, and we basically need to get this on television, as Jan and Joe said.
Yeah, so. Any ideas that anybody has, I wanna know about, Sir.
Revel used to have the license to make model kits for things like the Starfield or in the Babylon 5, and I believe they had a Gnome cruiser that was about to come out, and a Centauri cruiser. And I noticed recently, the model kits that were made available on eBay, and they're fetching $300 a piece. Now Revel recently started re-releasing a lot of their old kits. How about going to their Facebook page and saying, re-release the Babylon 5 stuff? Get it back out there, get it back out in the toy stores. Get the kids seeing it. Because they drive a lot of purchasing power. They'll pull on the parents and say, buy me this, buy me that.
I think it's a great idea. My concern would be, again, that it hasn't been around for 10 years, and Warner Brothers charges an awful lot for a license.
Well, I think they still hold the license.
Yeah. Warner Brothers owns everything to do.
No, Rebels.
You mean Rebels?
Rebels still hold the license to make the model kits.
Do we know that for sure?
Yeah. I asked them. I've actually asked them if they still have the license. And they said, we still have the license for the model kits. We still have the molds, and we can put them into production if people want them.
Interesting. Okay.
I've got a question. So this is a panel about fans getting together to get the So I actually syndicate Jerry Doyle on radio. I'm his boss. Yeah.
Music and very popular.
Him and I, we talk every day. And I had a great interest in the show. And a guy named Mancow introduced me to him about 10 years ago. But I thought something else was going on here. But if there's a way I can help, I have 19 syndicated shows other than Jerry. And I can, if I have unsold commercials, I could, if you can actually find something that has a real hook to it.
Sure.
I can give you my card. And I can play free commercials nationwide because we're on about 500 stations. I actually talked to, about 8-9 years ago when I did my deal with Jerry Doyle, I actually talked to, who was the producer? Douglas Netter. And I wanted to get it going back again, because I syndicated a lot of different big radio shows, different producers, and they cited the same problems, but you just have to find a hook that creates that, and if you have a real movement and there's something that's legitimate that can do that, like I said, I'll run free commercials, in last minute unsold commercials.
Sure.
Most of my commercials are sold, but they're nationwide, so. Anyway, with that, I'll thank you all for supporting Jerry. He's actually a wonderful human being. He's very loyal to a T, loyal to his friends.
He's very loyal to the show too. He's never said anything but good things about
Yeah, he's just a wonderful guy, and the whole cast were wonderful. They made, as you know, they made that whole thing a giant hot tub, former hot tub factory, and they did it with a tight budget.
And they made us believe that we were out in space.
And they all still talk very
I was
well.
wondering if you got any more input or help, from my position, Bruce Boxlock, any of the cast, the key people other than Jerry.
We mentioned earlier that Pat Tallman and Claudia Christian mentioned the Free Babylon 5 campaign frequently. They've been extremely supportive. And Jerry has put up the hashtag on his Twitter this year also.
Does anyone know, has Warner ever offered JMS a buyout for the whole rights to Babylon 5 and the whole catalog?
Joe has been trying to buy the rights back. And he said, well, the only thing I know about it is what he posted on Facebook, and that it started out very promising and then never went anywhere.
Did Warner name a price that was ridiculous, or did they just not name a price at all?
I don't know.
Okay.
Good,
Good question for Joe.
Yeah, it's a great question for Joe and his panel.
Let's all go to Joe's panel on Saturday.
I can say something stupid again.
It's on Saturday at 5 o'clock.
5, yeah.
5 o'clock.
I'll leave my information over there. I got one.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have one thing before people start going off to other things. I need 24 volunteers.
For what?
Smart, very smart.
Military, no volunteer.
Don't ask questions.
This is just a little subversion that I want to do. I don't know if it's going to be effective or not. But Warner Brothers has a major presence here at the top. They have a huge pavilion out on the sales floor. I don't know if there's any Warner Brothers executives here or not. I don't know if any of you know any Warner Brothers executives. But what I'd like to do is, over here on the end of the table, I've got little candy jars for free Babylon 5. What I was hoping I could get 24 of you to do is take a little candy jar and take one of the postcards, and at random times go to the Warner Brothers booth and see if you can find somebody who might be in charge and give them some candy. I can't, and I haven't come up with a good hook. I don't know if you guys remember when Roswell was in danger of being canceled and everybody sent little boxes of bottles of Tabasco. I can't think of anything to do like that.
Food.
Yeah.
Swedish meatball. Yeah,
who said Swedish meatballs at the same time? That was awesome.
Bottles of Tabasco to send to Warner Brothers that would equate with Babylon 5. And the school ranch that was, in my area of the country seems to have gone under recently. I guess they don't like Florida humidity. But anyway,
What
yeah,
about
there are
teddy
people
bears
who
with John
are
Sheridan's
doing
name
so.
on them? The teddy bears with John Sheridan's name on them.
That's
That's-
expensive.
Hey, if Build-A-Bear can do Arroz, I'm sure they can do Babylon 5 stuff.
I'm sure that anybody could do it, it's
Yeah.
just we can't afford it.
You just want us to do a list,
Hmm?
you want us to do a listing?
No, we want you to mail that,
Okay, and then have something to go
But-
to Sandy and hand them.
Yeah, with little jars and little jars up here, again, 24 volunteers separate from the bill at different times during the convention and just, plant a little seed.
Yeah, I mean, if we, let's get the people at the Babylon, or at the Warner Brothers group talking about the campaign. I mean, it's not a huge thing, I don't wanna get all stalkerish, but I would like for them to know that we are a presence.
The teddy bear idea is not a bad idea, because think what happens when you get teddy bears in the mail. You take them home, and you give them to your kids and other people's kids, and then they stick around and they stay there, and they're seen. I know it sounds crazy, but
It's cool, it's a neat idea,
They
it's
don't get
the
thrown
logistics of, how much would it cost and are a lot of people willing to actually bear that cost, to do that.
I did say he's right. It is a wonderful idea, and, what I wonder if might work is if somebody here could research, I know that there are custom bear places, if we could research having a custom bear design for people to be able to order online.
Have a sponsor there, like ask your fans to sponsor a beer.
That's an idea.
So we can pay
That's
for
an idea.
one and it goes to.
And see, there's so many things out there that I don't have a clue about.
even going from her idea, you could even make one bear that's designed to be an exact replica of the one on the show, auction it off, donate the money to charity in the name of Free Babylon 5.
That's cool.
That's
really cool.
Okay.
I'm not sure, because it was, the original bear was Peter David's ex-wife.
Right.
No.
But I think it was made by American Bear Company or something.
Yeah.
I
And
think
you're
it
gonna
would
give
be
David a
easier
chance to shoot his
create-
ex-wife into space multiple times. Yes.
I didn't hear you.
Oh, I said you're giving Peter David a chance to shoot his ex-wife into space multiple times. But this might be a hook to recruit him as well.
Yeah, I mean, it would probably be polite if we asked Peter if he minded if we did something like that. Sure.
Yeah, I just saw a thing where these guys have this rocket that shoot stuff into space, and they're shooting bobbleheads from TV shows, and they just did Heisenberg. So if we did like a distinct, Sheridan teddy bear, and then like we want to shoot that into space.
Where would I get information about that?
You could probably look up Heisenberg in space, because they just shot the bobblehead and they have a video camera of him bobbling around in space, and then he comes down to Earth and crashes. So, and they,
I think it's done under a weather balloon.
I'm sorry?
They use a weather balloon to
Oh, I see,
rocket.
okay. Yeah, that would be a great
Oh,
publicity
oh,
stunt.
actually, look up TARDIS in space. Because somebody definitely said
Yeah.
TARDIS.
What's it, what is it?
TARDIS. Or not say
TARDIS
TARDIS.
in space?
Yeah.
yeah, so if you look those up, I mean, that'd be awesome.
That's cool.
Cool. I think we're getting some great ideas. Come on. Man.
For your teddy bears, pool the orders. If you can find a merchant that will pool the money. We had truckloads of peanuts that were sent to CBS by one vendor. There was a website where they showed you how much had been, put in, how much was being delivered, and you just sent your money to one vendor, and it worked.
ways to contact more friends. I mean, obviously, you guys are going to tell everybody you know about Babylon 5, but, does anybody know anything that might be along the same sort of lines as the Thunderclap? Or one thing that I'd love to do, that I haven't had a chance to research, and I'd love a volunteer, would be, I know that there are petition sites where you can sign a petition and they will send out a postcard to your, whatever cause it is. Does anybody know of any sites like that where, you can create a campaign? Or would anybody be willing to look up?
I actually work for a company that does that, so I wanna talk to
Hey.
you. Yeah, I work for a company called.
We're doing well.
Yeah.
No.
I wanna talk to you about this, cause it could be
Okay,
really cool.
yeah, that's.
But I was gonna ask you, have you thought about like organizing like screenings and viewings around where people get together, viewing parties where people get together, celebrate, sign petitions, send postcards together?
Something that somebody else had brought up at the Space City Con was a company or service called Meetup. And I did contact them, and because it sounds like a great idea to have local cells, for lack of a better word, to do things.
We're on watch list now.
They charge, and they wouldn't give any kind of, discount or countrywide special rate. So,
Just
and
great
it
Facebook
was
groups.
something not huge, but it was like $25 a month, and I'm sorry, for a group of 5 or 6 people, that's outrageous.
I'm actually, my main fandom is Transformers, and the Transformers fandom, for as fractious and obnoxious to each other as we can be, is actually one of the best organized fandoms out there. And Hasbro has, after many years, really listens to us and has a big presence and has a really strong ongoing dialogue with the fans. And a lot of it is, Facebook works just as well as Meetup, and you have separate groups for, Babylon 5 Meetup LA, or Babylon 5 Meetup Inland Empire, or Babylon 5 Meetup Alaska, or whatever it might be. That works just
So
fine.
just use Facebook and.
Yeah, Facebook and Twitter are very acceptable free alternatives. If you want to do it for your email list, there's listserv, there's Tumblr groups, you can always drag up Usenet if you really want to. There's lots of options besides. I love Meetup, and it's very useful for the end user, but there's lots of free alternatives, and there are definitely ways to do things that I've seen. And it's always weird to think of Transformers as the most organized of fandoms, but I've seen it done well, and how a fandom can communicate well with the rights holders and license holders.
Right, absolutely, and one thing to absolutely stress is that even though, I'm kind of a cheerleader for it, it's absolutely, everybody is welcome to do anything that they see fit, just as long as we're focused on Babylon 5. The Free Babylon 5 France, don't go back there. That's a fan in France who just started her own website. She's doing, she's more in touch with Tumblr and things overseas than I am. Basically, I'm lucky I can use Facebook, much less Tumblr or I just don't have the time or the smarts to be able to do all of the various social medias. But yeah, absolutely. Anybody is welcome to do their own group, to start their own, and I'd love to hear about it.
Speaking of which, we need to Instagram this panel, so will you do the honor? And that'll be hashtag 3Babylon5 for everybody who's looking.
And we are filming this panel, so it's going to be, that's something I think I forgot to mention. We do also have a Free Babylon 5 YouTube channel. So, we'll have this panel, the panel that we did in January in Space City Con is already up. But anybody who knows other social media besides Facebook and Twitter, and a very small presence on Google Plus, is welcome to start their own or contact me and, you know, I can link back to anything that we do on our website and everything. Please, the more the merrier.
I was just wondering if you had like pre-Babylon 5 groups in like different states, cause like Firefly has the Colorado brown coats where I'm from and all that kind of stuff.
If I knew how to shape up the brown coats and learn